Hey guys, it's yours truly, InterviewClues here, recording this video at 1:55 a.m. in the morning. A little late, but welcome back to another episode of InterviewClues. This is probably going to be my last installment for the whole year, but I think we're ending off with a bang this time. So as you guys know, I did a whole bunch of early episodes earlier this year. You're starting way back in June, so if you want to check those out, be sure to do so. But for this year's last and final interview, probably, I'm sitting down with someone who is close to one of our previous people on the show, back when it was called Gamers Den, XBuster. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Greetings. I am Swine is online. Oh, I hear some extra feedback there. Oh, goodness. But hi, I'm Swine is online. Or Swine, either way. Swine's short, simple, straight to the cut. It's a single syllable. Just call me Swine. Howdy.
Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, well, welcome aboard, Swine. Swine here is one of the people who has worked with XBuster in the past on some projects, and is also a very close friend of his. So it was honestly, when he agreed to it, he was very enthusiastic about his answer to being on the show. So thank you for coming on, Swine. I appreciate it.
I appreciate even being, asked. It's first time I've ever done anything like this, so getting, being asked questions that somebody, has any concern to ask me in the first place, that it's a special something you don't get too many times in your life, so I'm up for it.
Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. But you will relax a little bit. I won't be asking too many personal questions or anything, just so you know. The only personal question I will ask, though, is what are your top 3 or 5 favorite games? I always start with that for any gamers that are on the channel, assuming you've played a couple.
I would consider myself a pure hardcore gamer of all. Okay, I don't consider myself the most hardcore gamers, but I can give you a top 5 of my favorite games of all time.
Alright.
Okay, not in any particular order, but like the ones that really speak out to me and like they're gonna last like throughout the rest of my life. Portal 2 from Valve. That it not only is it just, big brain puzzle game, the writing is phenomenal. The characters with Gladys, Wheatley, and Cave Johnson and his backstory, and like knowing more about Aperture after playing the first game, like that, it's just a phenomenal sequel. Probably one of the best sequels in all of gaming, Portal 2. Another game that comes off the top of my head, another sequel to an already fantastic game, BioShock 2. I prefer BioShock 2 over the first and Infinite, because the mechanics in the game, they're just way more refined from the original. Its story doesn't have that big crazy twist like you'd expect from Infinite or the first game, but it's simple, it's straight to the point. It doesn't have to have a crazy twist, I think. And being Subject Delta, this Alpha series Big Daddy, it's just, it's a power fantasy, but it's like a very, unique kind of power fantasy, and, protecting the little sisters, gathering Adam. Like, we got a little bit in the first game whenever Jack, the player character, turns into one, but being that throughout the entire game, it's the ultimate dad simulator. Having spicers come over trying to attack the little one, and then you're like, no, freak, and then just drill them in the face. It's insane. There's no other game that gives you that kind of thrill and hits you in the feels at the same time like that. Another game, the third game I have on top of my head, Team Fortress 2. I won't lie whenever they don't lie whenever they say it's the most fun you can have online. Team Fortress 2 is just probably the best multiplayer game I've ever played in my life. It's I've met so many friends through the game. The cosmetics for all the classes you can have, for all that are just insane and stupid, but it's all funny as hell. Like, you can't go wrong with any of it. And I love playing Spy and Demo Man, Pyro. Like, I like those classes that have that, you know, that controlled damage. Like, you have to get yourself in the right position to do it, and then you take out people immediately. Those kind of classes really appeal to me, not so much the really rush downy kind of characters. That's 3 so far, right? Yeah, Portal 2, Team Fortress 2, Bioshock 2. Another game off the top that will always stick with me too would, it's hard, it's weird to say, but like, considering the issues with Activision Blizzard, Overwatch is another game, like much like TF2, where I had a lot of fun online, and and like, the gameplay it's a really solid multiplayer shooter, and I love the heroes so much, and it's a shame with what is happening with Blizzard and the harassment going on, and that's sad, because it's tainting the image of the game, and it's sort of a reason why I don't play it as much as I really should, because I poured hours into Overwatch with my friends, and it's just kind of sad to see something like that happening as of recent times. But it's like, ever since 2016, I was there for the open beta, and like, it was just a phenomenal time.
Wow.
Another game, the 5th game that you asked for, this would be Fable. I say it like, it's between Fable 1 and 2. They're both tied in the same way, because like, it was a very unique experience for a game. Because when I was young and I had the classic Xbox and had Fable 1, there was something about like the real-time morality where like, you go out and you just slay a bunch of monsters, come back to town, and then everyone is like praising you. But then you, like, one day you can just like betray everybody and just start slaughtering a whole village, and people react accordingly. Jack of Blades is maybe not the most deep villain of all time, but he serves his purpose well. The backstory with him, with the Queen of Blades and the Knight of Blades, and how Albion first formed, and how they like ransacked, took it over, and flooded the land multiple times, wiping everyone out. That is such a, like, that's my first introduction to some like really heavy, crazy lore in games, and of course, like, I always wanted to choose the good guy's side, but like, after a while I was like, what if I was a total jerk from the very start, and I got to the very end where it said, oh, you gotta kill your sister Teresa to power the sword, and then like, getting rid of it, and then you're like, oh, I don't want to kill my sister, no, you can't make me do this. And then I realized, oh wait, I just made all the evil choices up to this point. Okay, sorry sis. And Fable 2 is, I know you said 5, but I'm putting a 6 here because I might as well go all the way, because they're tied to me in the same. The story is a bit more epic, and I won't go into much crazier detail, but I feel like, yeah, the mechanics are a bit streamlined, it's a bit easier, death doesn't really matter because your character gets back up after being knocked out. Yeah, but I prefer the much more expanded world in Fable 2 to the first game, and Teresa's role in helping Sparrow get through the game is also very interesting, because it's the same, because Teresa is the sister from the first game that ultimately gets spared in the canon storyline. So it's crazy to know more about Teresa and just how powerful she really is, and it's a bit ambiguous, like, if she knows what's going on and kind of just lets it happen, or if she has enough power to actively make the world better, and she's choosing to, like, have her actions shown through you as the hero. I think that's a really, unique way of, like, showing that kind of, like, wise, sage, like, character that has that much power to do stuff. ultimately chooses the hero to have that spotlight and that prestige.
Oof.
Okay, enough about nerding out about these games. I am so sorry.
Yeah, well, no, dude. The only small criticism I will say is if I do have you back at one point or the other for an interview, no spoilers, please. The Media Maniacs have a spoiler-free policy around here, so I will have to put a spoiler warning. So just keep that in mind.
These are 10-plus-year-old games. I'm sorry.
Hey!
I'm sorry.
Hey, it's okay, dude. But seriously, with the new Fable coming out, I'm pretty sure people would want to dive into the new, the original games. Spoiler, please. So, that aside, you have some pretty good choices. So going over all those, pretty clear that you like Valve. So quite a few titles on that list.
Yes, I do.
And,
Half-Life is, of course, a very prestigious series, but I prefer the much more, like, not as gritty, serious games. Like, I would play Portal and TF2 over CSGO and Half-Life, but I understand the importance of both of those games, and they're landmark titles for the company and for PC FPSs.
Well, that's good to know. But yeah, seriously, I know quite a few people who love Team Fortress 2. I also know quite a few people, including my best friend, who was interested in the sequel in particular, who are interested in Portal 2, so that's definitely not a bad thing. BioShock is an interesting series, one I haven't really tested in myself. I'll have to definitely check out all 3 of those games and see what they're like, including BioShock 2, when I get a chance. I know about Overwatch, me and Ethan definitely know.
When it comes to playing Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I have to say first, but when you're going to be playing BioShock, those remasters, depending on which version, or which console you're playing on, are so stupid buggy. Oh my god. It has all the glitches from the originals, plus, crazy frame rate drops. Okay, for the first game, it's awful. For 2, it's not as bad. Infinite is just as functional as the 360 version. But the first game on the remastered collection is so buggy. You gotta make sure that you probably have playing it on the PC version or your backwards compatibility on the newer consoles, because on Xbox One it's a nightmare. Sequence ending, glitches, and then you gotta restart the whole level. Maybe that might not even work. There are instances where spicers show up, you gotta kill them, and then the level doesn't open up a door you have to go through. That's just awful.
Okay, I should mention, Swine, that I have an Xbox Series S and S, so I probably won't occur too many of those bugs you mentioned. I have 2 choices here, so
hopefully. I hope so.
I hope so too. But yeah, definitely thank you for the advice. I'll definitely keep that in mind. But going back to your other games, Overwatch, me and Ethan feel you on that. Me and Ethan are both kind of upset about the action about acquisition, which, by the way, guys, if we ever get around to it, we might do a separate video on, just a heads up. Me and Ethan are both very close to the Spyro and Crash series with those games, with the Activision owns, and we absolutely feel awful. Me and Ethan are both sworn off even covering the games on our channel just because of what's happening. And any other Activision title that we were interested in is pretty much lost our interest because of what's happening as well. So safe to say Activision pretty much got me unhooked from their games, and it really is a shame too. So I definitely feel.
Damn shame.
Yeah, so I definitely feel for all of the people who play all Blizzard's live service games, including Overwatch. This is definitely unfair to you guys, and hopefully things get better for the sake of all those games, including Overwatch, because me and Ethan also come from a place of resemblance. We both used to play Overwatch as well, so we definitely know, used to spend a whole bunch of time in that game as well, so definitely hope that things get better. And then, your last game there, Fable. Man, I've been wanting to try out that series. My best friend did try it, hated what it's like, but he's willing to give it a chance just like I am. So maybe we'll give it a second chance. But
the remaster for Fable 1 is a really, really good remaster. It's not as it runs way better, loading screens are way faster. And I remember like on the classic Xbox, so, like I ain't waiting like good 30-45 seconds to go to the other side of the map. Like, no, if you have the Series X like you said, and then you play the remastered version of Fable 1, it's a dream. Oh my god, it's perfect.
Well, I definitely will be playing that since it's on Game Pass. By the way, we are available on Game Pass.
Oh, it is? Nice.
Yes, so I'll be able to play all 3 Fable games, no extra charge. By the way, if you definitely want to play it, get ready for the new Fable, play all 3 games. They're all on Game Pass if you have it. Just saying.
I am so psyched for Fable 4. If it's going to be called Fable 4, we still don't know, but whenever that trailer came out and then there was the sword in the stone and had the guild sealed in the handle, I was like, oh my god, yes! Like, I lost my mind. I stayed up, like, to 8 in the morning to wait for the Microsoft presentation. I don't know why. I had no clue why. I just felt like there was something this time. They were doing something. I was going to get, like, either a Banjo-Kazooie remake or something, but no, I got Fable. And I was like, I'm 5 years old all over again. It's great.
I get it. Well,
it made me so happy.
I bet, and honestly, I will be honest. You're the first person that I know of, at least to my knowledge, of everybody I've talked to online or otherwise, that's actually someone who's played the game. So, I can imagine how you and the rest of the Fable community felt. I really hope this next new game, whether it's Fable 4 or something else does well for you. Because honestly, after seeing how much of an impact this series has apparently had on a lot of you, I definitely hope it lives up to the expectations, given how some games haven't.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of games that Microsoft, put out back in the day that were wanting to expand their audience, but never really caught on because, again, like, not everyone bought an Xbox when it first came out back in, like, 01. And it was a brand new thing on the market, so they had to, like, pull out all the stops to say, like, hey, we're this different. You want to check this out? And the acquisition of Rare was, like, another reason for that, too. And, of course, we know that nothing ever came of that other than a Conquer remake. That was about it, honestly. And less I talk about, like,
Yeah, I got you.
Better.
I got you.
Another, man, I know I'm talking a lot about, like, games and shit, but
No,
Lost Odyssey. Lost Odyssey is an JRPG that was lost to the sands of time because it came on the 360 because they wanted to appeal, get a bit of a Japanese audience, and I guess it never caught on as much as it could have. And if you ever find yourself a copy of Lost Odyssey and all 4 discs of that game, it is a heartfelt trip. It's worth it, and it's so sad that we're not even probably gonna get a remaster of it. But we got a remaster of The Last Remnant for the Switch. Like, what? Come on, you got a remaster of Last Remnant, but not Lost Odyssey. Whatever.
Well, if luck has it, and luck has been on our side a lot lately, we'll probably see that one again. But if not my best. Yes, but if not, I'll let my best RPG friend, Ethan N., who's also on the Media Maniacs channel, check this one out, since he's the JRPG player and RPG player of the two of us. This sounds more up his alley than mine, but I'll definitely let him know. And you said 4 discs, right?
Yes, I think, the 360 version had 4 discs.
Oh,
tell him it was composed by Nobuo Uematsu. I forgot how to say his name. The Final Fantasy composer. How do you?
I got you, dude.
Yeah, they brought him on
Hey, totally cool. But yeah, we should probably move on with the interview before we geek out, before we get too far ahead of ourselves. Okay, sorry about that, folks. I'm not sure what happened, but I lost Swine there for a millisecond, so apologies.
The internet hates me. That's what happened.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyways, moving on to the interview. So, as I was saying, Swine here is, like I said, he's worked with XBuster, I think, in the past on a couple things. But he is a music composer. Is that what I can call you, for sure?
Definitely, yes. Composer, yes. Songwriter, it's same thing.
Yep. So he has worked on...
Composer sounds more professional.
He's definitely worked on some music for sure in the past, so I'm definitely gonna get started by asking this first question. What inspired you to start making music?
Alright, so... Okay, from an early age, like, me as, like, a kid, like, elementary, like, I always had, like, an interest in the sort of music I hear over the radio. Like, it always just fascinated me, not so much the lyrics, but just, like, how the song's, like, constructed, and the melodies and humming it. And then, that fateful day in 2007, on my 360, my folks bring home a copy of Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock, and I played the hell out of it, and through it, not only did I like grow to love like so many like rock bands and all these songs that I've grown to love over the years, it helped me sort of expand and want to experiment, trying to, you know, recreate those rockin' moments that I was receiving. So of course I asked for, you know, digital pianos and an acoustic guitar. I've self-taught myself because, like, in small town, middle of nowhere, Texas, you really don't, like, have any, like, music teachers around, so, and I didn't really have access to the internet at the time, so I just, you know, plucked notes on the guitar, and found, like, every time you put your finger between the frets and moved it up, that's a different note, and when I played my little digital, like, 50-something keyboard without a stand, laying it on my lap and I have the AC adapter next to the wall, plugged it in, and I just, all the different little notes and just how, like it was overwhelming, but I knew, like, when I looked at it, it's the same 12 notes over and over. So, like, I hit this key here, and then this one 12 up ahead is the same note, just a lower, higher pitch. And I went back to the guitar and noticed, like, all the frets, they match up with all the keys on the piano, so I could learn one thing on one instrument and know immediately how to play it on the other. And from there, I tried to come up with my own little tunes and whatnot, and, like, play little notes here on the guitar that I thought sounded cool, and then on piano, I learned some riffs from the songs I liked in Guitar Hero, like, that, and, like, that, there's a song, Reptilla by The Strokes. It had this really fun, like, intro riff, and that was really fun to learn how to play that.
Well, it definitely sounds like you got intrigued by music at a very, 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 very young age, and
yeah.
Honestly, I wouldn't fault you. Honestly, I didn't become super intrigued into music until about my middle school year, personally. But I will say it's always amazing to hear people's backgrounds. It's amazing to hear someone's background in who's made music for a long time to hear what they personally think, what their personal start in really wanting to do any type of music making even before the internet experience was. So honestly, that's pretty cool. And I won't lie, the Rock Band pod didn't shock me all that much. There's probably good chunk of people whose musical started in rock bands, so you're not the only one.
Of course. And then most of, like, whenever it comes to the songs I was first writing. Wait, is it still coming through? I have no tell. I'm still connected.
Oh, you're good.
Okay. I'm just checking my internet, making sure it doesn't happen again. Just remembering what keys I liked playing on the piano best, and the different little riffs here I came up on the guitar. Those made up some of the first songs I've ever written in FL Studio, and those have stuck around with me, like, in my mind from those little days of playing since my early teen years, and I'm still working on some of those songs today, like almost a full decade later, and like that's good, that they're gonna stick with me, and it was because of that I want to be as experimental with the music as I can, and see like what else from those days I can also bring into fully realized song form.
Well, I gotta give you a props, and from what I've heard, definitely can tell that a lot of that has stuck with you, so way to go. I can definitely feel it in what you've been doing, for sure. And
it's my passion, man.
Yeah. Hey, we all have a passion, like passion. I said.
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay. So speaking of which, what was your so now that you told us what inspired you to make music, how'd you get started making music online? Like, did you start directly on YouTube or something else?
Alright, so when it comes to sharing online, I started posting to YouTube, I think, in 2019, and that was like a bit after I got my premium version of FL Studio. I think I'm actually not too sure. That was probably late 2018, early 2019, somewhere around that era. It was my senior year of high school. That's when I got my premium version, and that's when I started exporting videos from the visualizers in FL Studio with the music overlaid on it, and I've already had sort of a history of sharing like MP3 files around with my friends so they can hear it, like the music I do, but I never really thought of posting it to YouTube to like really see how people would gauge it. And from what I can tell, people like don't hate it, so that's a plus. So I'm gonna take whatever bit of like positive I can. Like, some of the videos only have like 1 or 2 thumbs up, but the fact like somebody sat there, listened to it, and said, "Hey, I like this," click, like that's something that like continues me wanting to keep uploading both original songs and remixes. And yeah, that's more or less how the internet stuff started. It was also another way for me to also show off my drawing stuff, because like I would draw stuff and then it would be like interlaced in the video as like the background thing, or if it's a remix and it has something to do with a character, I'll draw the character or whatever. And that's a cool way to show off both things at once.
Wow. I see. So you started way later than I did. For those who don't know, I started way back in 2010. And as InterviewClues, I started back in 2014. So I've been YouTubing for quite a long time. Sounds like you've been sharing music around before that, of course, but before sharing it to the pub. Besides that, public-wise, you've only been around 2 years. Gotta say, you have a pretty impressive amount of music so far for 2 years on YouTube.
Yeah, thank you. And the channel itself was made back in 2015. Up until that point, where I was starting to upload music consistently, it was all gaming-related content. It was either me, like, giving some sort of crappy meme, like, about a game or whatever, or it was a montage for Overwatch or TF2. There was a Smash one I did. The 2 Smash ones I did. One was actually a featuring for my Creme Isle remix, because it was a King K. Rool montage, and Creme Isle is my favorite track from Donkey Kong 64. And that was fun to do, like, this really, like, Smash Bros. Inspired remix of it, because there was no Creme Isle remix in Smash Ultimate, and, like, I thought that was a really fun thing to attempt, and, like, the video where I uploaded just the song itself, there's a lot of views already. And that was pretty fun to do, but before any music-related stuff, it was just Overwatch, TF2, and Beanie stuff, which all is now unlisted from the channel. The playlist links do not work for it anymore, because I unlinked, because I don't have those available to view anymore, because they are cringe. They are stupid cringe. I only keep it around for archiving purposes, but I don't want anybody to watch them. I was dumb teen.
Yeah, they can't be that bad, but I will spec.
They're garbage. They are garbage.
Sheesh.
I was way edgier than I was now.
Well, I've seen what was a Swine. Trust me. Personally, like I said, and you've listened to a couple of them, some of my older mashups are a little bit outdated. But I can,
like, since then you've, like, wanted to push your quality. So at a time, like, that was your, like, that was what you considered your, you know, your standard. But over time, as you keep getting better, you're gonna heighten that standard and get better and better.
wow.
So, but back then I didn't have a standard. That's the thing. That's what makes us different. No standard.
Sheesh, you reminded me of somebody else I know. No, but I'm not gonna mention his name. Honestly, I respect that either way. Not wanting people to see your cringe is definitely something I wouldn't blame you for hiding, especially if you didn't have a standard back then.
For, like, really, like, old friends I have who, like, want to say, hey, yeah, that video where we were both playing TF2 on Badwater? I'm like, yeah, do you really want to see it again? Yeah, I can't find it on your channel. Well, that's a good reason. There's a good reason why you can't find it on my channel anymore. Yeah, we were both 17 and we made a lot of sex jokes, but yeah, it was just the times. And I'm like, I want to move past that, dude. Why do you want to be reminded of that crap?
Me and Ethan know that feeling all too well. Minus the whole sex joke thing.
I'm also sorry if I have a bit of a potty mouth. It's kind of late. I don't have much, like,
No. It's totally cool, dude. Totally cool.
You don't have to censor me, do you?
Of course not. But I will.
I say I drop an F-bomb, it's like.
Well, yeah. Well, try to keep.
2 clicks for me, sir.
Yeah, I will try to keep your potty mouth down just a little bit. I'll ask, but outside.
I will try for you, sir. I will try.
Thank you. But outside of that, I'm usually not too fussy about it. Me and Ethan try to keep up YouTube videos at least age PG-13 for the folks at home watching, the parents watching.
So that's one F-bomb a video. Ugh. Man, you guys are squares. Okay, never mind.
hey, we're trying to make a living here a little bit.
I know. I'm sorry, man.
But all seriousness, moving on.
I don't want to jeopardize that. I apologize.
No, it's okay. Moving on, though. So I will ask you, what was your first remix that you ever did?
My first remix? Okay, I don't think it's my first I've ever tried, but I think it may have been the Bubble Bobble main theme. It was one I did back in 2018. I don't know if it's not one I've ever uploaded to YouTube, but it was the first song I ever remixed. I'm pretty sure it was the Bubble Bobble main theme because that's a game that's going to stick with me for the rest of my life. I also love Taito's arcade games, and their titles are just classic.
Yeah, Bubble is a name I've heard quite a bit, especially recently. But yeah, I wouldn't fault you on that one. Okay, so that's definitely a good first one. I have not heard the main theme, but going off your quality, I would assume that it was probably cringe.
Back then, I had the issue where I was like, yo, reverb is the coolest effect ever. Every song needs so much reverb that you can't even hear the treble in the song. So I cranked that up, and then you just hear throughout the whole song, and I'm like, that's how you master audio. Man, I would slap my 2018-year-old self in the face and be like, no, this is not how you master audio, you freak. Enough with the reverb. But I like fruity reverb too. It sounds so pretty. No. I can't.
Yikes. Okay then. Definitely know that building for sure. But yeah. sounds like an age I remember from the old days of and Nico, who's behind Sonic. Man, I can't say that name he made. Ugh. But it begins with the letter H. You guys know what I'm talking about. But his generation's remixes had a whole bunch of reverb. Oh god. At least from what I remember.
Everyone thinks it's so.
Yeah. Word of advice. There's a difference between using too much reverb and too little. Don't use too much. Period.
I mean, you would rather have a dry signal than, like, have it so filled up with reverb that just... when you look at the waveform for a song, you don't see all the individual up and down and, like, and differences in the volume. You just see a freaking rectangle for the waveform. That's all you see. It's sad.
I've seen that one too many times.
Only music nerds are gonna know what the heck we're talking about here.
Unfortunately. And I'm not that much of a music nerd, so that definitely says a lot. But yeah, word of advice for you music newbies. Anyways, that aside, for those who don't know, speaking of which, since we're talking about first, I'm pretty sure I've said this enough on the channel, but my first ever mashup was Green Hill Zone. Shocker. If anybody knows me by this point, Green Hill's literally my Super Mario Bros. World War I. I may have done it maybe one too many times.
Cannot remix those songs one too many times. It's already been so many times that it's just normal. It's expected at this point.
In my case, Swine, I think I may have done it a little, to the point where it's almost like Sonic's current state. But we won't go into that. Oh, we won't go into that debate for today.
Transition into 3D audio, be like.
Yeah. But yeah. Okay. What is the remix you're most proud of?
I can't choose between my babies. Come on, you can't make me do this. Okay. My most ambitious remakes, like the remixes that I think that are like, yeah, look at this. Okay, so it's relating to XBuster's project, Shantae and Asher during Fantasia. The song he used for the Market District, for Rabadanka, that remix of the main theme, I have a new current version of it that I've poured like many hours in all the crashes to FL Studio because all my plugins were killing my CPU. That remix, I'm very proud of that one. And I just had so much crap just crammed into it, and like it just came out like it was just fantastic. It was just like, that's one of my favorite remixes I've ever done, and it's a song I really like from the original, so I want to be able to like put as much Swineage within it as I could, and I think I did that.
Well, then I definitely would say, for those who don't know, by the way, Shantae and Ashlina, that name may sound familiar if you were at this year's Sage. It was featured, and it was featured at a previous Sage, but it was in demo form. This time it was XBuster has finally finished it up. Not completely moved on from it yet, but finished it up, and I gotta say it's a very good one. I'll leave a link in the description below to the full thing, but safe to say, I will definitely take a listen to that particular track later, because it definitely sounds like you put a lot of effort into it, so props to you for that. I'm pretty sure X appreciates it as well, so way to go, dude. Any other?
I think the current version in the game is not the finalized version of it, but it's the one that he had sometime in, I think, August of 2020. The more current version, I think I'm gonna upload it to YouTube very soon, and I'm going to, and that will be the definitive version. But I think the one that's already in Shantae and Ash is already one I'm still pretty proud of. Even if it's an older one and it doesn't have my same level of quality as I do now, a lot of the DNA from that is still within the current version. It's basically 80%, like 85-90% the same.
Well, I definitely think that's still something to be proud of, dude. So yeah, I look forward to listening to the definitive version of that later on. But speaking of which, is there any other remix that stands out to you, since it seems like you can't really choose?
Okay, I'm gonna move on from Monster World. I'm gonna pick something a bit more obscure and a bit more weird to me. It's like no one else knows anything about it. I'm looking through my folder right now just to see the ones and just recognize them off the top of my head, because I can't remember all 300 plus something files I have here in this computer. Okay. Another one that really stands out, is just another one I'm really proud of, was okay. It's the one I feel like I expanded upon the most from the original, and that's the okay. So in the Bubble series, it's a split sequel series. Okay, for the game called Bubble Symphony, the final boss, the Hyper Drunk, he has his own boss theme that is unique from all the other bosses in the game, and it's this really like bombastic and like demented circusy carnival sounding song, and that's always stuck out with me because the all the bubble have that same similar like demented carnival circusy feel to it, and the Hyper Drunks is that with like this epic grand orchestra edge to it. First, the original was a 1998 arcade title, and it didn't have like a live action orchestra actually, play the song, so it's all just midis. But it like always stuck out to me just with its epic flair into it, so I transcribed the song from ear. Like that took a long time, and I assigned it all to my instrument sampler with my orchestra instruments, and I tried to recreate it in a much more like grand epic orchestra style that took a long time, but it was so worth it in the end because it's a remix that was beyond a remix. That was me recreating the song and then adding on to it with no midis, no music sheets, no nothing. That was all from ear to rewrite it and then bring it to the next level. And I felt like that's probably another remix that's gonna stay with me forever.
Wow. Well, clearly Bullet Battle is definitely a series I need to check out at one point or the other if it's had that much of an impact on me. But moving on onto the remix itself, that definitely sounds like it stands out to you. So you said it was it's different from the rest of the boss themes in the game?
It's the other boss battles in Bubble Symphony, they have this shared boss theme. That's just the general boss theme for all the other characters, like the Puppet Drunk and the King Monster, and then the Giant Maita. Like they all have the same boss battle music, and Hyper Drunk has its own specific one. And Hyper Drunk is supposed, if the Bubble canon is weird, is supposedly the same Super Drunk from the first Bubble game, but like getting revenge, and he's just this jacked up, powerful, like sage, drunken wizard power. And it's so goofy, it is so crazy, it's so insane, but it's just so dang awesome.
Okay, clearly I need to check out this Bubble Symphony game if it sounds that crazy. That sounds
Scaly like boy spit bubble. Play his brother or two girlfriends.
Okay then. Seriously.
Top bubble fruit comes out of enemy. They die.
Okay, seriously, you and an interviewee I had on the channel, who is also one I've talked to a lot more recently. You know who you are in the conversation. Definitely will get along together. Totally would. But all seriousness, honestly, it's an definitely sounds like it. Really sounds like something that I will definitely look into for sure. You've got me intrigued. Okay, what is I have two more remix questions and then we'll move on to your more original stuff that you worked on. But what is a remix from an obscure game that barely anybody knows about?
Oh my god, that's the perfect question to ask. Okay, ever heard of this game called Dropcast for the Nintendo DS? No, you haven't. Okay, Dropcast is this tile-based puzzle game. It's similar to like Puyo Puyo and Tetris, but not really. It has this like ugly, cute, like cartoon network style. You probably think about what it might look like off the top of my head. And the premise is that this girl her name is Ingrid. She's like an actual sociopath. Instead of having actual friends, she makes her own friends out of her toys and makes them come to life through experimenting on them. And then she's like, what's the first thing I should do with them? Oh yeah, make them all fight each other for my amusement. And every time you, like, for each character you play as all her little stuffed animals and dolls that she like brought to life and made these demented creatures. They all have their own music theme for whenever you're playing as them. Not so much when you're versing the other characters, it's the music for the character you're playing as. And they each have these really unique, odd music themes, and they all have this motif from the main theme that's sort of based off the In the Hall of the Mountain King. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like you know that song, right?
Of course.
It has a melody very similar to that, and they all have that a part of that main theme and their own themes. So that motif, they Undertale before Undertale. So one of the characters, his name is Actually, I gotta make sure that's the right one. They all have really odd names. Okay, so there's this rat character. His name is Snitch. He's a very sleazy, very, like, underhanded kind of rat. His whole thing is, like, he's very sarcastic and just a bit of a cruel jerk to everyone. And they're all really cruel jerks, but he's really that underhanded, like, sly, like, sleazy kind of character. His song, like, from the DS version, is like this very bluesy style, like, jazzy piano piece, and like you can imagine, like just like, it's really hard to explain. When I say bluesy jazzy piano piece, like, I don't know if that really evokes anything.
Hang on a second there, Swine. Tell you what, guys, I'll play a 10-second clip of it if I can find it, and I probably can.
I have the MP3. I have an MP3 of, like, the original.
Oh, well, that actually helps. Okay then, when Swine sends it over to me later, I'll play the 10 seconds of that theme so you guys can probably get a good guess of what Swine's trying to describe.
So I can just send it to you right now. Just have it.
Alright, thanks. And I'll edit it in later, but yeah, it's 10 seconds of the theme we're talking about, because Swine's having a hard time to describe, so as I always say, if you can't describe it, listen to it. So, see you in 10 seconds.
And my version, I really wanted to lean into that. Like, I noticed, like, the song, like, you would think that an amateur wrote these songs, because they're not, like these grand spectacle, like, character themes. They're really, really short loops. But whenever they wrote Snitch's theme, they used the 12-bar blues, which is a music writing pattern for the blues, and it's very common from, like, 50s, 60s, 70s blues music. And it's like, hey, someone actually took at least 2 days of a music theory class. So, yeah, it was fun to figure out he used the composer. I actually don't know who the composer is. The name just escapes me at the moment. THQ's database doesn't really tell me anything. And but yeah, they used the 12 bars blue pattern. I really wanted to dig into that. Use some really, really jazzy chord voicings, and then I played the first loop really similar to how it does in the original, but on the second loop I added my own sax solo over it that I wrote myself, and I think it fits pretty well. And that wasn't in the original. It's just like a minute 10-second loop, and then I added the second part with the sax. So that was really fun to write, because, like, I never tried writing a sax solo with that sort of, like, that bluesy, like, you know, cool guy affair to it. Like, that was fun to work on.
I see. Alright then. Alright, so here's that 10-second clip right now of when I edited it in, of course, of that particular that particular song that we were just talking about, so you guys know exactly what we're talking about. And yes, Dropcast is a very obscure DS game. That isn't the first obscure DS game I've heard, of course. But this one in particular, it escapes me from even the depth circle. So when he told me about this, I was kind of like, huh? Alright, anyways, enough of my yakking. Here's that 10 seconds.
That was some groovy stuff. I was grooving out to music that was not playing. Oh man, that was great. Won't make any sense in post because the audience is gonna hear it, but, like, I was hearing it in my head.
I can imagine, considering
God, it's a fun little piece of music. I have to say.
Well, that sounds like you really enjoy it. And honestly, Swine, this game sounds like you really enjoy its music too. The game itself is not really all that good, guys.
Yeah, it's not the most balanced. Then Ingrid's Curse, which is a separate puzzle mode, like the solo non versus mode. It's so difficult. It is near impossible to get that high of a score.
Yeah.
That's also because I suck at it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure a puzzle expert could probably take care of it better than both of us. I also suck at Booyah, so that says a lot.
If I ever learn how to make a game, that's the first game I want to try remaking it, making it actually balanced.
Well, hopefully if you ever get that opportunity to do that, or make music, whichever comes first, I look forward to that. But that being said, I will leave a link in the description below to, hopefully if I can find it someplace, gameplay of Dropcast for those who are interested. Because honestly, hearing about this game has made me even more intrigued about it.
No, they don't. They really don't. It's not a good game by any stretch of the imagination. I just like the music.
Well,
that's it. Recommend it all you want, but they're not gonna have the best 20 minutes before they turn it off.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, Swine. You'd be surprised. Trust me when I say that.
There's always those that like to be adventurous and try brand new things, even if they're told no.
Trust me, I've seen some people try games that I wouldn't even touch for the 10th for myself, and yet when they do, they tend to work magic on it. So I'm inclined to believe. I mean, just look at Sonic 06.
Mine's more 9.5 foot. I'm not much closer to it.
Fair
aesthetic, cute. Bad game.
Fair enough. More power to you. But last one. What series do you want to tackle remix-wise? Or, I should say, free franchises.
I want to do more Monster World stuff because with me being introduced to Action Monster World / Monster World 4 and working with Dream Fantasia, that's gotten me to explore the series a bit more. Again, I'm more musically inclined. I don't really have much time for playing lots of games nowadays, but I want to be able to make strides in at least the medium that I'm more comfortable with. So more Monster World, more Wonder Boy, so I want to do as much as I can there.
I see. Any other franchises outside of that?
Any other franchises out of that?
I said outside of that.
So outside of Monster World, Wonder Boy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm supposing I want to try to get some Donkey Kong Country stuff, but I'm like, that's a lot of that music is really there's tons of remixes of that stuff already, so I don't want to go into it too oversaturated. Like Creme Isle, that's special to me because when I played DK64, that was just, oh, it's so dark and cool. I love this song, but they're remixes for Aquatic Ambient. That's a dime a dozen, you know. Yeah, they may sound good, but what's gonna separate it from uploaders X, Y, or Z? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you on that one.
So it's popular. I want to go for some more underground stuff if I can. And things that not everyone knows off the top of their head and present it.
Well, if I may give you a recommendation.
Recommendation.
This might not tickle your fancy completely, but the Atelier series is solely lacking in remixes. It's a pretty musical series, a pretty light, sort of hearted series in a way. It's an RPG series as well. Made by Kumio Tecmo, the same people who are behind the Dead or Alive or Ninja Gaiden franchises, and more recently Fatal Flame, Black Maiden of Blackwater game. So yeah, if you want to check out, if you want at least somewhat of a challenge, I would definitely check out the Atelier series because Some of the music in there is pretty... Woo! Woo!
I would love to hear these tracks. You're hyping them up quite a lot. You can send me some links on YouTube to some of your favorite tracks, and I'll certainly take a listen to them.
Well, I don't have that many favorites since I'm still diving into the series head first, but I'll send you 2 of my personal favorites, which is...
Sure thing, dude.
Definitely will do that after listening to you then. But anyways, moving back to anything else. Now, considering you diving into a Sega series, I assume that you want to dive into maybe a certain blue hedgehog at one point or the other?
Blue Bubsy, not like the same Bubsy, but he's a Bubsy blue. I think he's fast. I think his music is. Who knows?
I was referring to Sonic the Hedgehog. This is really very
not so. It's not Blue Bubsy. I actually have a few Sonic remixes. My favorite remix I did for any of the Sonic games, I did this very triumphant orchestra version of Ice Cap Zone, and that was a really fun one to do, because I wanted to sort of depart from the very, MJ-inspired piece and make a much more grandiose styled song, so that was a fun one to do. The other sort of Sonic remixes I've done are pretty standard to what you would expect, but none of them have taken that extra leap departure in my own style. Then I tried doing a remix of Beta Launch Zone Act 2, and I have I had the MIDI for it. I have a project file for it, but I haven't really had the chance to finish it yet. But once I do, I'll probably get that uploaded to YouTube as well.
That sounds interesting. Definitely sounds good. Okay, so from what it sounds like you definitely want to dive into more Monster World. I have not seen too much for that series in terms of remixes or music in general, so I think it's definitely well needed there. Hopefully it inspires more people to do it and check out the series. Please.
We can't get Jen Cole to do every single song for the series. He has his few good ones, but he's got to do other things too.
Indeed, just like many remixes.
Nerds like me to remix an entire soundtrack.
Oh, I know how that feels. But yeah, definitely would love to do that. Of course, Donkey Kong. Yeah, I feel you on that. There's one too many remixes. Although, speaking of which there was this cool Aqua Ambiance version of Green Hill Zone that someone did that I really love.
Someone did that?
Yeah.
Why haven't I heard this yet?
It's
been all my life.
Good question. That's what I said. I'll send you that one too if I can find it again. Seriously.
Please, I need this in my life yesterday, dude. Please.
I will do that for sure. But yeah, I definitely would be interested to hear some of your take on some of the Donkey Kong inspired tracks. Maybe you want to stay on the ground, maybe do something that many people haven't remixed yet. Aquatic Ambiance is something that we've heard a good chunk of.
I think there's some the GBA games that have unique songs to themselves. I'm not too sure, but if there are any of those, I probably want to check out those first, because again, who's playing the Game Boy version of Donkey Kong Country 3? Who? There might be some gems there. I want to be able to find these gems and then work on them, because
yeah, they definitely deserve a highlight.
It's nice to give attention to the stuff that's already popular, but come on, give something a chance,
That's true. And as for Sonic himself, itself, it definitely sounds like you're at least less interested, but warning to you, Swine, if you ever get super popular, you might get asked about that sooner or later, so just warning.
I won't deny it, there's a good deal of songs from Sonic games that I would consider doing remixes for. It's just, again, it falls into that, yeah, everyone knows these songs, and everyone probably has heard about 3 remixes, like, for every last track you can think of, so there's not complete. Unless I'm being mistaken, are there like a game? Is there games that like have like really not the most popular of the soundtracks? I just a lot of them are really popular.
Actually, you'd be surprised about that, Swine. I can name quite a few that could use a little bit of love.
I will hand out this love on a silver platter.
Let me see. Shoot. Oh, Sonic Battle. That's it. I knew that.
Okay. Funny you should say that. So you were in the AGG server. You know Lala, right? Or Muted Neb?
Yep.
He asked me to do a song for Sonic Battle. Because you know how each character has their own little room remix, right?
Yep.
Or, I hope that's the right game I'm thinking of. He showed me the one for Amy's theme, and he didn't really care for the original, but he was like, I guess it was some sort of challenge to see if I could make it palatable, and I did it. And then he was like, Jesus, Swine, you gotta really flex like that. And I'm like, what do you mean? It's a good song already. And he's like, no, I don't really care for it. And then I did the remix, and then like that was a fun one to work on because like, I sort of got the style what they were going for, but like the original like sound font or whatever I forgot it's the GBA title, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, they didn't have the best
the
best sound chip. So, but I could hear like just listening to the song and the arrangement what they were kind of going for. And I did the remix for it, and that was a fun one to work on, really. And I liked the song, and I don't want to think that I made the definitive version of it because I'm pretty sure someone probably remixed Amy's room.
No, sir.
No.
Unfortunately, Sonic Battle out of the Sonic Game Boy Advance trilogy is commonly overshadowed by by the free advanced titles. Those have gotten a lot more love, and that's strictly because a lot of people spent a lot of time in addition to Sonic Battle, Sonic Adventure 2 being on the GameCube, so there's that. But that aside, Sonic Battle is the odd one out here. I barely see anything for it, so maybe you can do.
This is an untapped market, and I will claim all the rewards.
Well, it's all you, dude. There's only a couple remixes I've seen, and I will say that the remixes I have seen for it, there's very few I would call good.
Oh, okay, I'm curious to see these very middling remixes, because, like, did they do anything to, like, you know, expand upon the originals, or is it just, like, okay, putting the MIDI through new sound font, go?
I'll have to get back to you on that one once I re-listen to them again, and I'll send it to you later. But staying on topic, sheesh, so apologies if this is not the standard way the interview clues goes, but that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, unfortunately, with the series.
That's just Swine's online style. You just go from one thing to another. That's how I work with my music project files. I apologize.
That's totally cool, dude. That's totally cool. At least the people are gonna be able to get people will get a good vibe from that. How you really work. I always try to use my the interviews clue series to really get people's personalities across behind the screens, because not a lot of people tend to. I've had some pretty good, interesting people on this series too. I've had normal people. I've had some pretty famous names from the Sonic community. I've had some pretty big remixes on here, like Kid Tattoos as well. He's a well-known 8-bit remixer. Definitely check him out. and he got to work with Yakulele's soundtrack for Yakulele and Invisible Layer. He got to do 8-bit remixes for those, so I'm honored, particularly still, to even get to talk or speak to him. That being said, though, you still are a big honor because Shantae and Ashelina is definitely one game that I hold dear to my heart. So even being able to talk to your Swine is big. Even being able to talk to XBuster is big. So yeah.
I'm so grateful to even be viewed in that sort of light. That is very, very special, and I appreciate that.
No,
thank you.
No problem. Anyways, so moving on from your remix history here, let's talk about your original history. So, what was the first, or when did you want to start doing original stuff, or what inspired you to do original stuff?
All right, reiterating from the historical stuff. When I first wanted to learn how to use, music sequencing programs like FL Studio, I wanted to start with like a very simple like piano riff I came up with, and see if I can incorporate it into, like anything digitally. So it was a very early version of The Greater Light. It was one of the songs I've written. It was just one part of the song, and I remember uploading the video to Facebook as my first like real test to see if I could if uploading it online will even like be worth it. And it was the same like 8 bars of music looping, but what I did is I recorded like with Screencast-O-Matic, FL Studio, and what I did is I like turned up the volume knobs on each of the channels, so then it would like fade in all the instruments to show it all off, and then I'd let all the instruments play through for a bit, and then I ended the video. And my family, like whenever I showed it to them, they were like, "Yo, this is really cool." Like, and that could just be them being, supportive folks and whatnot, and not being too like crazy into the inner workings of song making, but it was those first few like interactions with just showing my folks like, hey, look what I did in FL Studio today, and they were like, hey, that's pretty nifty. I remember you playing that on your piano. And like from there, I just went more elaborate with the songs. As soon as I got the premium version of FL Studio that lets you save your project files, I know that sounds really, really sad to say out loud. That's whenever I started, incorporating more than just a day's work into each song, and evolving them with the style, with the sort of way I do things now in movements, because I don't write my songs with like verse, chorus. All the songs are in movements, sort of like how like classical songs are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally know what you mean on that one.
Yeah, and a lot of my songs, like when I riff for my piano, were very much so like that. And just being able to play a note on my piano, go in FL Studio, click the right note, time it all. I had a guitar tuner at the time that also had a metronome in it, and I figured out like how fast I was playing the song on the piano, and that's what I set the inner BPM to on FL Studio, so it would line up perfectly. And I would play something on my piano at the same time I would play something on FL Studio and be like, hey, I want to add that part to it, and change this, do that. And that's how those first few songs were started, because they were direct translations from what I was doing on my piano. I didn't have a MIDI controller at the time, so it was just me plotting down notes with my mouse.
I see.
I hope that's a sufficient answer.
That is a very sufficient answer. So first things first, any program that locks saving the files behind a premium bar of some sort
Yes.
is really spammy in my opinion. Just so you know.
So yeah, the trial version of FL Studio, you can export your songs in whatever format. You can make them MIDIs, which is kind of a way to bypass it, because you can reopen the MIDIs and like start them all over again. But it doesn't. But you can't save the project file. So what I had to do instead was like take screenshots of like each of the channels in like the piano roll. Then anytime I would have to load up FL Studio again with the demo version, I would just plot down all the notes again. But a lot of times I just remembered what they looked like, so it was really easy to do that instead. The premium version of FL Studio to save your project files, that is $99 USD. I was 16 at the time, and that was about half my paycheck at the time. So yeah, that was a lot of money to start spending up front, but that was.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I don't want to deter too much further from this, but any software that blocks their saving, unless it's for a good reason, behind the premium buy, especially if it's nearly $100, very scrummy, professional or not. Just saying.
Yeah, there's another $150 or so to get to the signature edition of FL Studio, which lets you edit audio files, which you think you should be able to do right off the bat, right? No, you have to pay the next level to get signature edition to use this plugin called Edison that lets you add audio files to FL Studio and edit them within the program itself. And I think you also cannot record audio until you get signature as well. I forgot what changes from signature to producer, which is the version I have, which is right underneath the highest version of FL Studio. I forgot what changed there, but I knew it was something important.
Dang.
But
yeah,
and also, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, you can say what you were gonna finish up before we move on.
Oh, also, like all the plugins, those like. Other than like the 7 or so that are just the main base of FL Studio, all those are premium too. So, say you wanted to get the premium version of FL Studio, the first level, and you want to get like 2 extra plugins, you're spending $200 something already just to get some extra plugins for you to make your sounds with. But some of the default plugins they already have in there are good enough, honestly. And being a premium member, you have access to the constantly updated VST called Flex, which is just another synth they have. But like they add like these packs of synths that you can download. Some of them are free, some of them are premium within this program, but it is free altogether. So if you get the premium version, you get Flex, and Flex is already pretty good.
Well, if I ever actually go into the remixing business, I'll definitely keep that in mind. Yikes.
You can get a cracked version and just pirate all and make it free.
Fun fact, I actually used to do that with Photoshop. Photoshop until,
Apple. That's because you're a smart man.
Yeah, until Apple decided to say, nope, so I had to pay for it. But
I did pay the also premium version of Vegas Pro. And I don't use it as much, so yeah, that was a mistake.
Yeah,
should have pirated that too.
Definitely. Anyways, moving on. So yeah, it definitely sounds like you've had a very good music inclined history here with your original tracks. I would definitely say I didn't really show it off myself with my mashups back in the day. I started straight up front with YouTube first and foremost. Man, do I wish I showed a couple friends first before I did so.
Oh.
God, man. Then 2014, 15 were my refuse.
It doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but then you look at the number, it's like, yeah, those are years. Multiple.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on. So what original track are you most proud of, or tracks in this case?
Alrighty. I'll give you two answers. One that is like music that's written for myself, and one that original music that I've written for some other projects that are from me. So, of the songs I've written for myself, I think my favorite. Oh God, it's another choosing between all my babies again. Oh, I can't. Okay. I'd say the one that has evolved the most and really shown off like what I'm capable of. I would say that is the song "Graphite Power." It's one of the earliest songs I've ever written. It's another of those like old classic piano, like old piano songs that I've written way back in the day and incorporated into FL Studio. And it's evolved a long ways over the years. I remade the original FL Studio project file back in 2018. It's gone through numerous iterations, and the version now I have it at is probably one of the best songs I have written. It has a good combination of like experimental stuff plus really video gamey sort of style, upbeat music, and it has a bit of an orchestral flair when you get to the end. Included electric guitar, and it's just a fun song to have with me over all the years, and I'm really proud where it is right now.
Wow. If that's an original track to be proud of, then I can tell you that's probably a very original track to be proud of. Have you uploaded that one to YouTube at all? No.
A previous version of it was uploaded to YouTube. It's not currently up now, but one of the earlier versions of it was.
I see.
If once I didn't have time in my schedule to like actually make the videos and then upload it. There's been a problem with FL Studio lately where Z-Game Editor Visualizer's videos like sometimes crash my PC. Sometimes it won't export all the video, and that's a pain. It's sucky, and that's sort of made it like, do I really want to spend an hour and a half exporting this crap just for it to possibly not work?
And of course, if you ever need help, you know yours truly isn't far away, aka me. I don't mind, honestly. Lee,
gonna help your boy out? That'd be sick, man.
No problem, dude. You gotta remember, I do the same thing for my mashups. This is no problemo.
And for all of these, I also like for the original songs. A bit personal here for these songs. They are accompaniment to a story I am writing. Some of them are themes to characters in the story of the Graphines, which is a fictional tale I am writing. And Graphite Power is the song that is sort of the theme of the thing itself, and it represents sort of the family of the Graphine siblings and the bond that they all share. And it's odd because it starts out really calm, but then it builds up and then gets a bit bombastic, and then it falls back down at the end to a much more calm state, and it ends on a very nice, very calm nod back to the very intro of the song as well. And it's just a very fun track that I hope to one day make the story for, to life. And
wow.
Yeah, the name Graphite Power, it's the last name of the kids, and the power of their bond as siblings. It's like in the story, like I'm not gonna go too crazy into the story, but they don't have the best of circumstances happening to them, and really they are all they got left. So I want to make a song that could emphasize just how important that is to them, without it making it like dark and depressing sounding.
Wow.
Because we can use less of those, less of that, really.
Yeah, especially right now. But it definitely sounds like if this track is going to do anything, it's going to get a point across for sure. I look forward to listening to this track at one point, and I look forward to reading or playing potentially this story of yours at one point. So you said you're giving me 2 answers. So what is the track that you did for a project that was original?
Okay, so I say it's for a project, but it's really just a personal sort of thing. Maybe it might be iterated on, maybe not, but I would consider it fan art music, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's relating back to the XBuster and Dream Fantasia again. I'm sure he's fine with me giving up some of this information. I am sure. So I'm chatting with him one day, 2020. This is probably like maybe August, September. He shared with me this MIDI of a song he's written. It was some RPG sort of style battle theme, and I was like, hey, this is pretty cool. And like I went ahead and like sort of rearranged the song with him, like in my style, and then he was a really big fan of that. And like after playing it and realizing just great God, just Sahira is just such an awesome villain. I keep forgetting if the T is pronounced Sahira or not. I'm just gonna say it without. I think that's what he told me. And I wanted to like make a fan art sort of like fan-made theme for Sahira and like the realm, like just that she would like occupy. And like I have like a couple songs in this series called the Melody of series. And each of the songs in the series have the word like at the end that starts with MAL, which you know is Latin for bad or evil. So there's the songs Melody of Maleficence, Melody of Maliciousness, Melody of Malcontent, Melody of All, Melody of Malice. You know, you can imagine, yeah, just a series of songs that are like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about it long and hard, like the character, it's like Sahira herself, and like what it reminded me of, like other villains in the past, the games I have played or stories I've read. And I wanted to come up with a theme for like just that emphasized that chaotic madness on the outside, but possibly like repressed, you know, in like innocence to it. And that's whenever the first song of Melody of Malice came in, which was like a much more general theme that set up the rest of the series, because it introduced the leitmotifs I wanted to use. And it used some of the little hints from that original song he wrote. And just a few tabs here and there as references. I don't know if he heard them at the time. But then I got to the second song in the series, Melody of Maleficence, and that's when I went in ham, because I used his song as like a template for like how to structure this one. And it's a song that is still in the works and has been in production since, let me read this out loud, May 27. No, not that wrong. no, date created. Okay, yeah. Yeah, August. Yeah, we're talking August of last year. It is still ongoing. Me iterating this song, perfecting it, rearranging it, starting all the way over. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Until I can perfect the song. And how it is now is probably one of, like, the most ambitious, most, like, highly refined song I've ever written. And I still have things I want to change and edit and add to it. There are so many layers of ideas at play that I put into the song. And, like, it's gone beyond its original intention, of course. And it's sort of like, and I also made it as sort of a thank you, because, like, again, like, a lot of that, a bit of the DNA from that original song he shared with me, that MIDI, is a part of this song still, even to this day. Sure, again, a lot of it has been paved over with the ideas I came up with for, God, over a year and a half, almost a year and a half at this point. And, I just wanted to, like, show off, like, just what I could do, and I feel like now, it's a really big part of, like, all the songs I've ever written, and it's both as fan art for a character from a fan game, which is, like, again, I don't know if that sounds meta in its own way, but that's how it is. And it's also a thank you to XBuster and like getting me into this community and introducing me to the game, Dream Fantasia and the AGG community.
Oh, that's honestly very sweet, and very nice of you, Swine. I'm pretty sure if X watches this interview, knowing him, he will. When he gets to this part, I guarantee you he's going to be talking to you in the Discord later about it.
No, I don't want him to have to worry about it. I think he knows it very well. I've updated him on, like, every iteration of it. He says he's a preservationalist, so he has every, like, iteration of the song since, like, August. Like, he probably has downloads of, like, everything I've ever sent him, and it's just crazy, you know, like, he's that supportive and wants to, like, see me improve in that way, and it's really great. He's a very supportive friend, and the song is my thank you to him, and a celebration of a character that he made that was just a phenomenal villain, and it's yeah.
Well,
that's really, just reiterating at this point.
Yep. Well, hopefully, when you finally get it done, we all get to hear it for sure. And I really do look forward to hearing this one as well. Definitely, speaking of thanking XBuster, real quick thank you as well to XBuster, who was previously on the InterviewClues, formerly Gamers Den, for coming aboard. Hopefully at one point or the other, guys, since XBuster does have a mic this time, which will make my editing job 10 times easier.
10 times.
That we can get him back on again, since it's been a long time since we last chatted with him on the show, and he has since finally finished Dream Phantasma, so hopefully we'll be able to see be able to talk to him and see what his thoughts are now on what the game is now that it's finished, and what he's working on next. So,
can I give a recommendation of a question you can ask for him?
Sure, but preferably off screen.
Feel free for him to elaborate on, like, how he feels about the Monster World series going forward, like, because they're thinking of experimenting with 3D. They're thinking about remaking those games, and I think X probably has a lot of ideas, like, he has in his mind of what he really wants to see, plus what he's expecting to see.
Wow.
I think he wants open, like, I think he said he wants open world games, but like, is that real? But I wonder if he, like, thinks, like, that's probably the healthiest decision for this series, because it's already been set up for, like, decades, what a Monster World Wonder Boy game is like, so maybe the change in, like, gameplay styles may be a little too drastic if they did it right now, you know? Or maybe that might be just to spice up it needs, and maybe he has a good perspective on that.
Well, I'll definitely be sure to keep that, write that one down and keep that in mind. But hopefully that doesn't happen, because Sega's that's only a curse with a certain hedgehog.
That movie's gonna be good. I don't know how many chances we're gonna give him.
Yeah, I know, right? Anyways, definitely I'll keep that in mind if we want to re-interview XBuster on the show. Yeah, going back to your track, I can't wait to hear it, man. Man, this sounds like, I definitely can assume that any of my pals watching have definitely felt your pain for sure. That I'm pretty sure they've had plenty of tracks, original or remix, in the works for months, years even, and they still haven't perfected it yet. So I'm pretty sure they feel your pain.
I would have stopped working on it, like, earlier this year, but then I was like, no, I need to go further, because, like, I might think it's good now, but I know half a year's time I'm gonna be like kicking myself for not trying something else. So I can't say anything is confirmed yet. But if you want to know how I feel about its progress, I think this is honestly the final iteration of it. What I have now, I just gotta do some extra mastery techniques. Like, I'm not the best at, like, working with compression or whatever. I just know how to put volume on stuff and add delay or whatever when I need it. Some little bit of saturation. I'm not too crazy about the details of audio mastery, but I mean, I'm a songwriter first, not a producer, so.
Yeah, hey, that's totally cool, dude. But yeah, if you're that, I can't wait to hear it either way, and I wish you the best of luck of finishing this up, because because I know how it feels to not have something finished up.
Can you just point this from me if you are much more savvy about audio mastery than I? You probably are way more savvy about it than
I wouldn't say that. I'm still learning. Yeah. Definitely. If there's one tip I've learned over the years, just make sure everything gets your point across.
I sure hope so, because, like, a lot of songs I write for people that are not as, like, musically savvy, they're like, oh, some of the instruments, they sound like they're being blocked out by the other instruments. I'm like, there's kind of a point. There's some of the instruments are supposed to be subtle, and then they sound like, but I want to know what that sounds like. I want to hear it out.
Yeah.
It's not the... Because, like, artists, like, you know, death of the artist, like, it's not your intentions, or, like, your review of the song doesn't matter, because, like, it's just as valid as everyone else who listens to it, but you're like, there's a reason why that tubular bell isn't as loud as my trumpet that you have blasting in your left ear right now. Like, there's a reason why it's not as loud, because it's not as important. But, okay, whatever, I'll make it louder.
But, yeah, I know how that feels. It feels. To not do too much fodder, Green Hill, for example, the remixes I've heard, and I've heard a lot over the years, trust me. For example, hold on a second, I gotta think. There it is.
Oh yeah, the counter melody.
Yeah, you don't always hear that in every remix. Official, for the most part, I've heard it. But in terms of fan, nope, it's not always there. Usually it's only the main and do-do-da-do-da-do-do.
Yeah. I feel like when it comes to remixes, like, yeah, you want to get the main stuff across, but, like, add those counter melodies. It's what adds to the whole bulk of the song. The counter melody really outlines the chord progression along with the bass, which is really just playing a couple notes at a time. So you really needed to get that, those mic, because like the song is like it plays that like that C minor 7, I think. Like you can't get that just from the melody itself or the bass line. You got to have that counter in there along with the chords to actually get that feel for it.
Indeed.
Otherwise, it's not gonna have that same like direct flavor of the song, unless that's not even what you're going for to begin with. But I assume most people want to get what that particular like descent of the song. You know what I mean, right? Like,
yes,
you didn't have that, like if you can imagine what what Green Hill would sound like without say like without the chords that play for each bar, like that's gonna sound a bit weird. Like, yeah, you recognize all the other parts of the song, you could fill in the rest of the harmony in your head, but you're gonna need all those extra notes so you can get that exact flavor. Otherwise, it's not the same.
Pretty much, you've described my feelings on that. I've heard a lot of Green Hill over the year, though. There's some remixes that actually have the subtleness in there as the main medley, even at times.
I can't think of any direct ones off the top of my head that fit that description, but I think one of my favorite, much more innovative remixes of it is the Utopia version. That one is just a phenomenal remix of the main theme, in my opinion. It changes up parts of the melody. It's transformative of the original song, and I think that's pretty cool. Yes. But yet it keeps a lot of that flavor from the original still there, while still being its own thing.
Definitely one of the more transformative remixes I've heard of the Green Hill Zone from over the years. Definitely. Let me see. But yeah. Anyways, returning back to the interview topic here.
God, these tangents. I apologize, bro.
Oh, no. Totally cool, dude. Totally cool. Like I said, I'm going out with a bang for this last interview. I might as well make sure it's the best one.
Heck yeah. Watch time, boys.
Seriously. Okay then. Is there any advice that you will give someone who wants to aim for an original track that has only done remixes up to this point?
So, tips to people who want to write original music. Don't be afraid to experiment and take it, because if you only recreate what you hear and not try to find something new, then people are going to find your influences, and that might cloud their judgment of the piece itself. Because not everyone's going to be taking everything very subjectively, or not objectively, and see it for what it is. People saying, "Hey, this reminds me of blah blah blah," and that can be a bit disheartening, because everyone subconsciously takes inspiration from everywhere else. Nothing, there's nothing new under the sun. You know what I mean? And so don't be afraid to do something a little crazy, weird, because you might find your style. You might find something that sticks with you, and then you want to incorporate that in your music. So you experiment, try something new, and feel free to incorporate it. And another sub tip is music theory is not everything. Because I know a lot of people that are I have to know X, Y, or Z, or I gotta take this class so I know what scale intervals are useful in this key. Oh man, your brain is hurt. Will remember a lot of different things subconsciously about what works in music. You don't need to take a music theory class to write something of any decent value. And then it's good to maybe touch up on some key things here and there, but you don't need to stress out about like applying that much theory into writing your own music. Like the Beatles didn't know any music theory, and they're the most recognized rock band of all time. So like that just goes to show, you just like they played what they thought sounded cool to them, and it had an audience, and people liked it. Like because a part of them knew, even if they didn't know exactly what they were doing, a lot of the different stuff they were trying out like made sense from a theorist's point of view, and they didn't, just because they didn't know the theory didn't mean they incorporated it. So you shouldn't have to worry about it, because you're probably going to incorporate something that will work on a fundamental level. Like if you keep your song in key, then you know it's gonna have a much more consistent tone to the whole piece. If you want to write something in C major, that's all right. Just use all the white keys. That's fine. Like it'll have a consistent sound to it, and you didn't have to know like C major is like one of the more functional key of one of the more functional modes to write music in, and how C major shares all the notes with A minor. And then, like, if you started using A as your root for writing a melody, then it might start sounding that darker minor sound to it. You didn't have to take a theory class for you to figure that out, because again, when you went at the first point, you experimented a little bit, and the next point, you tried something that sounded, cool to you, and you don't worry about the music theory. You know what sounds good to you, and go on from there, and that's how at least how I write music.
Wow. Wise words, my friend. Now, in terms of
some water. Water next to me.
Oops. I guess I should have told you to get a drink of water before we started. Sorry.
Dang. No, it's alright.
But I guess one last question before we completely wrap this up is, if you want to remix something, like tackle that for the first time, what tips would you give?
I guess it depends on whether your remix is going to be like very faithful, or you want to make it transformative. Either way, you want to find out the key of this, like not the key, but I say key, but like what makes the song itself memorable to you. What about it stands out to you? What makes it good? The original song you want to like, that you want to remix, and from there, that's what you keep the same, the heart of the song, but you change everything else around it. So, but if you want to make a more very simple, iterative, I can't even say it, very basic remix of the song, you don't need to change too much, but at the same time, like, you want to incorporate some of your own flavor, your own taste to it. I mean, because it would add your own, flair to it, your own personality. And no one wants a rehash. And when it comes to very transformative remixes, again, once you figure out the heart of the song, that's whenever you can incorporate that experimental side of you and see if maybe you want to try the song and very, like, say it's a really happy, bright, cheery song, and you want to make it depressing and sad and just moody as all hell, or make it some hard rock, metal version. That's a fun way to, go about changing it and making it transformative. But there's an audience for that. Someone's gonna want to hear the SpongeBob main theme in the minor key on a piano, and someone did that, and like people clicked on that and liked it. So it doesn't have to be the most insane, like, transformative idea. It can half of the song. It just has to be your idea. And once you implement it, there you can, like, it's yours, and you can go ahead and finish it.
I see.
I would say if there was another thing, don't be don't be afraid to change up your original material to fit your needs. If you feel like maybe the bass line in the original is a bit too simple, feel free to like funk it up. Like, give me some like little licks here and there, or change up the drum pattern. Make it maybe make it more intense for that rock and roll version. Give me some double kick action there, the bass kick. Or maybe add some, like, really crazy jazzy chords if you're going with a much more mellow tone sort of sound that the original may not have had. Feel free to add some harmonization to it, to maybe the melody here and there, so then you can add just that extra little bit of personal spice and idea to it. Yeah. Just, like, as long as you keep the heart of the original, you can change everything else around it. And, like, if that means you gotta, like, add a few notes here or there to the melody, go right ahead. It's you know, it's gonna have your fingerprint on it.
Okay, those are definitely words I was definitely expecting and not expecting to hear at the same time somehow. How? I don't know how, but I just was. But seriously though, I've definitely come across a good chunk of that in my Green Hill hunting. In fact, several remixes that use Green Hill with the Genesis sound font actually remix it. Two particulars stand out to me. I don't remember the guy's name, but he is definitely one that many in the homebrew scene would possibly know. He's done a remix of Green Hill in the way that if Sonic 1 was released later in the Genesis life. So when they mastered the Genesis sound chip, which honestly sounds catchy as all heck. Like, I keep coming back to that every once in a while, and it's just like, dang, this is a good tune.
What was the sound chip for the Genesis again? I forgot what it was called.
FM, if I'm correct.
Oh, use FM samples.
Yes, if my knowledge is correct. I'm not all that.
I'm thinking of PSG. Like, what does that come to mind from? I forgot.
Can't remember.
This isn't my field of expertise. I don't look into console sound chips. Like
feel free to comment below, guys. I'm not all that familiar with Genesis sound chips all myself. This is coming from the Nintendo and Sega fanboy for crying out loud. But yeah, mine, you know.
Please educate us.
Yes,
we need educating, please.
Yes, please. Apologies. But seriously though, I do know it definitely sounds a lot better than, no offense, I love the original to that, but it does sound a little bit early for the Genesis like a couple other games. But definitely was still good for its time, I'm not gonna lie.
What years were considered late Genesis? I mean, Saturn came out and when? Compared to?
Yeah, I forgot. God, honestly, I had to look that back up.
Are we talking like mid-90s? We're talking like 94, 95, 96?
From what I can tell, at least by the comment sections, I will say that this was about. Some people say it sounded, that particular remix sounded like something from maybe Shinobi 3 particularly.
I am not familiar with the Shinobi.
Yeah, I'm not all that familiar with it either, but I have heard a little bit of its soundtrack.
There were ninjas, I assume.
Yes, it is a ninja-based franchise. Definitely some very interesting music you should definitely listen to as well if you want to. It's, well, actually, I'll send you a video about that one soundtrack later, because honestly, the music for Shinobi is, yes. Yeah, But yes, I put several remixes for Green Hill that take that advice of yours in mind. And personally,
coming 2 hours, just of the second time. Oh my god.
Sheesh.
Oh man.
All right. Well, I guess we should probably wrap up the interview then. So where can they find you, dude?
If you want to see the content I produce on YouTube, you can find it at www.youtube.com/channel/capital U, capital C, capital B. I'm not gonna read out the whole URL, I'm sorry. No, you could just find me on Swine Online on YouTube. I post when I can. Where I can. We have a Twitter also at Swine Online. I actually don't even worry about Twitter. I don't even worry about it myself. I think if you want to have the most interaction with like what I'm doing, feel free to, if you have interest, of course, in the rest of XBuster server, the Action Gang Galaxy server, or the Monster World server. I'm sure MC will leave some links to there in case anybody was interested in joining and being a part of a really cool gaming community.
Oh, definitely. Yes, I am part of that Discord myself, so you'll have a familiar, if you're one of my fans, you'll have a familiar face in there too.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, please join that one. And if you want to know more about the Monster World series, definitely join the Monster World Discord as well. There's some pretty knowledgeable fans in there that can catch you up on everything in the series. Definitely going to be spending some time over there for sure. Since I'm absolutely clueless to the rest of the series outside of 4, which I have fairly limited knowledge of even then.
Have you actually played Action and Monster World yet?
Believe it or not, there's a lot of Sega series I really want to tackle, dude. Trust me, I'm trying. So yeah, I have not played that one yet. But I do think Ashelina is a very interesting character. XBuster has definitely intrigued me with the Dream Phantasma, and I definitely want to know the origin story for her, so yeah. But no, I have not played I have not played Monster World yet. Monster World 4 in particular.
If I had to give like a quick review of the remake, good game. Horrible translation. Oh god. It's not polished at all. There's spelling and grammar errors throughout. It's just like, you want to take a second look at this and be like, yeah, that's good. Put that out. No, it's not the best. But when it comes to actually playing the game, yeah, it's fine. Just don't read anything. The game is better if you're illiterate.
Oh dear. Okay, well that's good advice to know. So what you're telling me is definitely play the game for the gameplay, but in terms of the story, I'm probably better off playing the original in this case.
The story's fine. It's just like all the dialogue is like someone put it through Google Translate once or maybe twice, and they were like, "Yeah, that's English." Like some of the characters' names are misspelled from their Japanese counterparts. Like Princess Purpril, her name is like Pruapril, and in the translation for AMIW is Propril. So I don't even know how that happens. Peligu's name is like spelled like 3 different times in the translation. Like, can you at least spell it wrong one time throughout?
Oof. Well, at least that one sets an example of how to not translate a game 101. Oh god, Sega, seriously. But yeah, okay, well thanks for letting me know that. Well, if I ever stream it, guys, be ready for a slightly beautiful train wreck then. God.
But as the game, it's a solid game.
Well, that's good. All that matters is if I'm at least able to get some enjoyment out of it, that's fine. And the chuckle, I don't mind. I read words of translations. God.
it kind of breaks the immersion to see the grammar and spelling errors, but again, we're not playing the game with our reading parts of the brain. We're using our motor skills to move the controller stick and have Asha shaking the rump in front of the treasure chest for 5 minutes. That's part of the game. Oh, beautiful 3D.
Well, that's good. But yeah, thank you again, Swine. Now, again, apologies that this interview went a little bit off the normal grid. Thankfully, when I do get XBuster on here, it will probably be in a little bit more formal, but this, like his Swine said, this is the way he does things, so thank you for showing us your way, Swine.
You're gonna have a lot of editing to do. You're gonna have to cut out all the times we stammer and...
Nah, that's it. That's staying in for the whole video. Besides, like I said, I'm going all out for the last interview, so I want to give my fans a treat. Gee, I'm doing a lot now.
Yeah. I think what I was going to do is start actually posting stuff to my center, but I have an account that anyways will start soon.
Yep.
XBuster started uploading a lot of music that other people have been doing in the community to SoundCloud, on social media, so maybe I need to start doing it myself. I don't want to pay more premiums, man. Yeah,
SoundCloud premium can be a little intimidating. Anyways, but yeah, seriously though, thank you again, Swine, for coming on. If you got, I'll leave a links to the description below, and I'll send you your links later, Swine, once I get around to it. Yeah. Thank you once again for coming aboard. If you guys are curious to see Swine's edit work that he's done, you might want to play Dream Phantasma. I'll leave a link in the description to that below. And if you want to learn more about our prior re-interview, before re-interview, when eventually I get around to that with XBuster, once he is not so busy. Be sure to check that one out. I'll leave a link in the description below to that one as well. I gotta say that one's my most proudest personally, because it did take me about 3 hours to even get through the editing for that, for the video part alone. Yeah.
So I want to say, like, if you ever want to do this again, like, and have more questions, like I'd be willing to go up for it too. Oh,
don't worry, Swine. I'll probably re-interview you at one point or the other. Trust me. I plan to do.
Got your play fill for the rest of the year, I assume.
Yeah. I've had my fill for the rest of the year. I got edit videos to do. But seriously though, thank you again, Swine, and to all of you who stayed for all the interviews clues. I want to give a huge shout out to all my InterviewClues members who have been on, so thank you to every single one of you for being a part of this very interesting series. I hope to interview more of you in the future, and if you want to be part of InterviewClues, DM me on Discord, or obviously you know my Twitter, it's in the description anyway, so DM me over there as well, and we can talk about having you aboard. And yeah, seriously, to all the people who have been a part of InterviewClues thus far, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to talk about what you love to do, and it means a lot to me too, because I get to know some pretty cool people to do their favorite things. So yeah, I'm very proud of you, proud of that, and I'm very proud of every single one of you, because you definitely have accomplished some pretty awesome things in your life, and that's something to be proud of, no matter what anybody says. So, the fact that I even pulled you aside, that means that you got my attention, and that honestly is the biggest thing. If someone pulls you aside and says, "Hey, you're doing a cool thing. I want to know more about it," that definitely is something that definitely means you're doing something right, for sure. Yeah. But seriously, thank you so much, everybody, for being a part of Gamers Den prior and InterviewClues now. Hopefully we have more next year, and for now, for this very last Interviews Clues of the year. This is yours truly, Music Clues, signing out. And, yeah, I'll see you if this goes up by before New Year's. I'll see you later on this year with edit videos, of course. And if this goes up on New Year's Day, or New Year's Eve, depending on which one, then you have a great new year, and I'll see you in the new year. And I'm very excited for what 2022, hopefully it's nicer to us, brings us. See ya.
Nothing's promised. Ain't nothing promised.
Very true. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye, people.